Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alan, this is my life in Taiwan, and today I am continuing my one-day work series. So next to me is my new boss for the day. Yes, everybody please meet expert soybean farmer Mr. Xie, who is going to be my boss for the day and show me how soybeans from his farm are processed and turned into this delicious soybean milk. 老板，我们在哪里？
我们现在在云林县东势乡的大豆田。
Today I'm going to be working on a bean farm. 所以老板，今天我要做什么？
今天我们是来看这个豆子已经成熟了，可以采收了。我们准备要采收这里的豆子。
So yes, as Mr. Xie said, we were going to be picking the beans ready for processing. But what he failed to mention was just how much hard work that processing was going to be.
这一袋要放完，
全部吗？
全部。
你看我的刘海。So yes, stay tuned to the end of the video if you enjoy seeing this British guy suffer doing traditional Taiwanese work. But first, before we got to the bean field, Mr. Xie wanted to make sure I had one very important piece of farming attire.
英国人要带。
你看哪一种？
哦，蓝色。对，哇，漂亮。So I think the boss was a little bit worried about my white pasty skin going out into the fields. So we just stopped off at this little farming shop, and he's bought us a couple of hats. 我们准备好了吗？
我上了。
哇，
哦，帅！
你也很帅。
英国人好哎，很亲切。
So I was doing my best to impress my new boss with my British charm, but I knew that soon enough I was going to have to impress him with my hard work. However, before we got to that, I wanted to get to know him and his story a little bit more. 你可以介绍你的故事，你做这个工作几年了？
好的，我阿公。我爸爸都是种植杂粮的世家，然后我从小就耳熟目染，然后我读到高中毕业以后，当兵回来，我就是继承阿公爸爸的产业。我22岁开始种豆，
所以你的家人做几年？
我的家人就是从我阿公，从我爸爸。到现在应该超过100年，种豆超过100年。
Hearing that bean farming had been in Mr. Xie's family for over 100 years made me feel incredibly honored to be here and working with him, and inspired me to work as hard as I possibly could. I didn't want this to just be a YouTube video for show. I really wanted to help. So I made sure to ask as many questions as possible. 这个黄豆可以做什么？可以
做豆浆，可以做豆腐。还可以做味噌，还可以做酱油
啊，真的，
还可以做豆皮，
很多可以。
对，还可以做豆干。
OK，我最喜欢的是豆浆啊，
做豆浆最好的品种。就是高雄选10号，
真的。
对。
Just in case the 100-year history of bean farming in Mr. Xie's family hadn't given me enough pressure to do a good job today, hearing how important these beans are to Taiwan's food industry gave me extra impetus to do a good job. So there was no more time for talking, it was time to work and collect some beans. 所以全部可以拔吗？
不是，这一个就不能拔。
OK， 为什么？哦，因为太年轻。
太年轻，对，这个老了可以收，这个太年轻不能收。
好，这个用农药吗？
不用农药，
完全没有，
完全不用农药。
OK，很自然。
对，很自然。
So, talking of nature, it was time to get out into the field and harvest some beans. Nowadays, of course, there are usually many farm workers who will harvest using machines. But just having this experience under the hot Taiwan sun was enough for me to understand what farmers up and down the country go through every day to ensure that there is food on all of our tables. 可以吗？
可以 ，OK。
So there's the product of my labor for about 20-30 minutes work. Definitely getting a bit hot under the sun, but it's nice to have a product at the end of a bit of hard work. But yeah, I think it's going to leave the farmer's field now and get somewhere back to the factory. So back to the factory it was, and after a short drive through Yunlin's beautiful farming scenery, we arrived to find one of the workers demonstrating my next task for me, and I asked the boss's cousin to explain exactly what she was doing. 他现在要做什么？
他现在做的时候就是在做那个豆子的入晒的一个过程。我们豆子从田间里面采收回来，那就要经过阳光的曝晒。了解。那现在他的动作就是 要让阳光的照射均匀。刚刚的它是用南北方向的一勾一勾的，
好，
现在它是用东西向的一勾一勾的。
所以我可以帮他吗？
可以。
So my second task of the day was underway, and as well as helping the factory workers finish their work a little earlier, it also had an unexpected benefit for me. It's actually quite therapeutic. It makes you feel like relaxed. So as relaxing as it was, the hot sun was burning down on me. I have to say, even though this is a little bit of hard work, the factory owner was telling me that this specific factory insists on drying the soybeans by natural sunlight, of course, which there is lots in Taiwan. Some factories will dry the beans using machines, but as I mentioned, the factory owner here insists on using the traditional natural method of drying the beans, which of course gives them some problems when the weather is bad, but today, lots of beautiful sunlight to get these beans nice and dry. When the boss told me the next task was going to be indoors, I was pleased to get into some shade. First, thanked my coworker for helping me get this job done. 谢谢。我做得很棒的吗？ After I had dealt with an occupational hazard faced by every non-Wellington boot-wearing bean farmer, I headed inside for my third task of the day, but little did I know, this would be the most exhausting task I was facing that day. 小心，小心。
我现在要载豆子过去整理了。
Yes, my next task was to take that 1-ton bag of soybeans that Mr. Shear was carrying on his forklift and use this tiny plastic tray to move it all by hand into the hopper. 在这里吗？
对。
Bloody hell, this is hard work already. Do you think we have to do this whole thing? 我们要全部吗？全部 Oh my god! So while me and my co-worker continued on with this arduous task, the machine we were feeding was also working hard to sort the beans from the leaves, twigs, and defective beans, ensuring that only the highest quality beans made it out of the other end.
这里是整理好的，好，从这里出来。
可以试试看吗？啊，没有其他的东西。
对，
就是有刀而已。
对。
啊，哇！
等一下到那里还会更漂亮。
OK。
还要经过那个电脑筛选过。
OK， 我会去做工作。So here I could see how not only was Mr. Shear a very hard-working man himself, but he was also a man very proud of his equipment and his product, and was doing his best to make sure that I, as his new employee, fully understood the machinery I was working with in order to produce the best possible product. But as I knew my co-worker was working alone, it was time to get back to work and finish that 1-ton bag before the next step of processing. Despite working as hard as I could, Mr. Shear wasn't afraid to keep me in check, and it wasn't long before I got my first telling off for almost overfilling his machine.
慢慢的，不要太快。
好，老板骂我，因为我倒太快。
倒慢一点，慢慢的。
可以吗？
慢慢的。
华人辛苦，对啊，压力山大吧。I hope that this dojang is good to drink because when all of this is finished, Laban said he's going to give me the dojang to drink. So I really hope it's delicious. It must be the most delicious dojang I've ever drank. Oh. Let's go. I'm sweating into my bucket. Ah, really high.真的很辛苦哎。
这一袋要放完，这一袋。
全部吗？
哎，全部。
你看， 你看我的流汗。
流汗。
我可以啊，我可以啊。I'm not gonna fail. I'm gonna do this for England. I'm gonna do this for Taiwan. I'm gonna finish this this bucket. 这个是1吨吗？1吨。1吨。哇 ，OK。
不要太快，慢慢的。
你看 we're at the bottom. Look, we've made it to the bottom of the bag. I consider that a success. 好 ，come out. Oh look, there's even beans in my mask. Yes, there were actually beans in my mask. And if I were to tell you where I found beans when I got home, it might be a little too much information. But anyway, my work was still not done as the final stage of the process was awaiting me. And this is where the beans are checked by hand in a process that ensures only the most perfect beans make it out of this factory for transport to the Dojang factory. And the boss trusted me to take part in this quality control process. That may seem like a few seconds here in the video, but actually took much longer in real life. But soon enough, it was time for me and the boss to go sit in the afternoon sun and enjoy our reward for such a hard day's work.
好，开始喝豆浆。
Cheers.
哇，超好喝的哎！
Oh my goodness, 好喝。
哦，好喝好喝。这个豆子就是我生产出来的高雄选10号做的豆浆，男人喝了会强壮。
哦，真的。
女人喝了会漂亮。
So, if you haven't guessed already, I've been asked here to promote local farmers making local produce, and this dojang is made with Taiwan
的豆子做的豆浆。
对，没错。This particular dojang from 安石製豆所 is made from Taiwan-sourced soybeans and gets my personal seal of approval and is available at the link in my description down below. So go check it out, buy a box or two, and support local farmers like my new boss here. We've had a great day working. 我今天可以吗？
可以，表现很好。
Yeah, definitely support local farmers. Get yourself a bottle of dojang, and yeah, cheers, cheers. As for now, as always, I'll see you next time in my life in Taiwan. Peace.
这个豆浆上面有我的名字。